Hi, I'm Helena Irene Mikaelsen from Imperia, and you are now watching Live Prog by Malzen.
Hello, welcome to Live Prog. My name is Marcel Haster. I started my review career in 2003, so that's been a while, and I started writing reviews. Now, despite the fact that I started, quite a few years ago, it still happened that there were a lot of amazing albums that I couldn't review because, they were already released before that. Now, that's a bit of a bummer. But sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you get re-releases. Now, you have this debate, whether is it a rip-off for the fans or does it really have something to add? Well, in my case, it has something to add. I can review, such an album. I have an album for you that I cherished for the past 11 years, ever since I got it and ever since it was released. Unfortunately, the band is no longer. Sad, but they left an impressive legacy, and I think you already know what band it is because I made a little display here of all the albums I have of them. Now, what album am I going to review? This one, Decipher by After Forever. I think it's safe to say that After Forever is a legendary band. In the early 2000s, when they started releasing their music, the so-called gothic metal, or what was later referred to as female-fronted metal, was very popular. There were a lot of bands, and After Forever with Prison of Desire made a stunning debut. Now, with such a stunning debut, of course, the second album, the bar is raised high, the expectations are high, so what will happen? And Decipher, this one, was the second album of After Forever. And it was my first album. And I gotta say, you might have it, but if you don't have it, this is a killer album. Absolutely. It's very powerful, musically. What I like about it, and I kind of like the whole genre, because of the fact that the classical influences. This is all more symphonic power metal, I would say, with beautiful female vocals. Now, of course, Floor Jansen is well known, not just for After Forever. At the moment she's still making music under the name Revamp, so she keeps on going, and she kept on growing, but compared to the debut, her vocals on Decipher are absolutely stunning, extremely powerful and spine-chilling, especially when I listen to a song like Intrinsic, which is one of my favorite tracks, but throughout the entire album, her voice really stands out. One of the greatest singers in Holland, absolutely. Now, I said this is a remaster. Now, I'll bring it a little closer and show you, because it is, it's a very well-packed remaster. As you can see, there's a lot of tracks on it. And you have the artwork. I really like this one, the green. The first one, if you can see it, Prison of Desire was blue. And then you have Decipher, this is the original one. And then you have Invisible Circles, that's the blue one. To finish the list, we have Reimagine and After Forever, which turned out to be the last album. You have a bit of an EP, Exordium, and a couple of singles. So they released 5 albums, and as I said, this is the second. Now I can open it. You have the band, and we have 2 discs chock full of music, really stuffed. And don't forget the booklet, which is also expanded. Sander Gommans, the main composer, and grunter of the band and guitar player, wrote some liner notes. Now, very interesting. At the time of this album, Mark Jansen was still part of the band, and together with Sander Gommans and Floor Jansen, they wrote, well, all the songs and had a lot of input, of course, from the other members, but you know, the three of them kind of wrote the album. Of course, after the release of this album, Mark Jansen, well, left after Forever and started Epica, and he's still doing that and releasing a new album as well. Interesting to read the liner notes, because there's a lot of background information from the time that this album was, well, recorded. That's of course the background story. Now, musically, as I said, it is a very powerful album. It still blows me away. Even after 11 years, it hasn't lost any of its power throughout the years. But I gotta say, the remastered version has been, well, you know, using the latest sound techniques to polish up the sound, and I gotta say, I compared the original, the original with this one, and I gotta say, it does sound better. So, it's an improvement. Now, bonus tracks. Already on the first disc you have the original album, and then you have about 5 additional tracks, a couple of non-album tracks. And what was interesting is, around the time this album was released, they also released the single Emphasis, featured a beautiful rendition of Who Wants to Live Forever by Queen, with a guest performance by Arjen Lucassen. And when you listen to that album, you clearly hear the influence of Arjen Lucassen. The keyboards, you know, the whole spacey Arjen sound is in it, very good. And guest vocalist on that song, also Damien Wilson, doing a duet with Floor Jansen. Damien Wilson did a little bit more, because a really amazing and really beautiful track, Imperfect Tenses, on the original version is also a duet with a tenor and Floor Jansen, of course. And there's a version added as a bonus track where she does the same song in a duet with Damien Wilson. And I gotta say, I have to be honest, I prefer that version. Not just because of it's Damien, but because, well, Damien is an incredible singer, and I like his voice better than the original singer. So I'm very happy that this version is on it. Well, apart from that, you know, there's a few other tracks very interesting. There's an orchestral version of Imperfect Tenses, where you don't have the guitars and the drums, you know, don't have the metal aspect, but just the symphonic aspect. So, disc 1 is loaded with, well, amazing songs, and all in super high quality. Now, the second disc, I'm being a little bit in doubt, you know, does it add anything? Will you listen to it? It's called Decipher the Sessions, and it contains basically raw versions, early versions of the songs that would, form Decipher in the end. And of course you have, they sound different. If you compare them, you know, you can hear they're very different, and but you can hear how the songs, well, made a change and developed into the songs that ended up on the album. There are a couple of tracks that are interesting, that I found very interesting. One of them is My Pledge of Allegiance, Part 1. On the original album, that is, well, by far my favorite track. And I think a lot of people who have Decipher will call that track their favorite, because it is a brilliant song. If you hear, especially the grunts, on, well, a bit of the demo version, you hear such an amazing difference. And if you listen to the final result. You know, you hear how they changed it and, well, molded it and shaped it into a perfect song. Very nice. There's also another version of Who Wants to Live Forever on the bonus, on the second disc. And this one is instrumental and is done entirely by Arjen Lucassen. And again, you hear his influence and you hear how he did it amazing, but he managed to mix in a little bit Beatles in that song. So, well, that's very interesting as well. And intrinsic again, and even in the demos you can hear what an amazing, powerful singer Floor Jansen is. What a crystal clear voice she has, you know. Very impressive. And, well, I gotta say, when I look at the package and see what you get for it, I gotta say this is worth every cent. It's a beautiful album. Now, of course, I understand many people will have it, and so, you know, we're all short on money, so, well, I leave it up to you what you do. I recommend it. I definitely recommend it because it is an improvement compared to the original album, and you get a lot of extras because there are a lot of people who may not have that single, and, well, that single contains a couple of really beautiful songs that are very much worth having. So, for those who already have it, I say, well, consider it, you know, consider buying this one. If you don't have the original album, if you don't have Decipher by After Forever, I say Live Prog must have. Absolutely, make sure you get this album.